Hey there, Ridgely Goldsborough here with Jay Bennett, the Blue Collar Networker. And Jay, we want to know the whole deal, the good, the bad, the ugly. How did you come to be a networker and eventually the Blue Collar Networker? How'd that happen?
So Ridgely wants the whole story.
The whole story. I want to know the whole thing, man.
Okay.
Especially the ugly parts.
The ugly parts. Okay. So, real quick, when I grew up, had 4 brothers. We were very competitive family, always in sports, fell in love with all different types of sports. But as I went up through school, really got into football. And so football was my main thing.
American football.
American football, yeah. Not that thing you just kick the
No,
soccer ball thing.
No. Okay.
And so I got really lucky. My grades were not good in high school, and I got a scholarship to go to college to play football, thank goodness, because I know I never would have gotten into college. And I won't get into all the details, but I don't think I qualified to get into college. But somehow I got in.
Because of football, okay, cool.
So that was great, and so I got to play in college, and that was a great experience. But when that came to an end, when school came to an end and football came to an end, it was the real world, and that's go get a job. And I got recruited off campus with a company. It was a food company. So the A students got the medical, pharmaceutical jobs, and the high-end engineering jobs or whatever. The B students got, the next layer of jobs. The C students got the food company jobs.
Okay, got it.
So that's how that goes. So I got with a food company, and I really didn't enjoy it at all. It was kind of like I felt like there was no incentive. No matter how hard I worked, I was going to get paid the same.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so I didn't see myself incentivized. So a lot of times you see people in a job situation, they're at 90% instead of 100%. That's where I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want that. I wanted to really have an opportunity to do something, but I didn't know what that was. So I literally quit the job not knowing what I was going to do.
Oh, that's interesting. But that was a little scary.
That was very, very scary. I just quit it thinking I've got to go a different direction. I did not know what it was. Called an ad in the paper, the days of calling an ad in the paper.
Right. All those things that people said never worked.
Never worked, yeah. Called an ad in the paper, and I thought I was going in for a one-on-one appointment for a job interview, and there was like 15 people crammed into this little tiny office, and a guy presenting a network marketing business opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, and he went through this presentation, but the biggest thing that I caught from it was the concept of geometric progression. Just the idea of leverage and creating income when you're not working, and the power of geometric progression.
Right.
And everybody using the products and everybody sharing with people what that could accumulate and what that could be in terms of income.
So conceptually to you, that was like, okay, wait a second, this is an eye-opener, this makes sense.
For me, it grabbed me.
Mm-hmm.
It was the light bulb that came on, and I saw, I get that, I like that. The whole concept grabbed me. But at the end of the presentation, he said, "Who wants to get started?" All positive and excited, and everybody ran out the door as fast as they could, except me.
Right.
And so he took the time, and we went through some things, and that's how I got started in the industry.
And that was your first company, so to speak.
That was my first company.
How'd that first company work out for you?
Well, I want to say that first company was definitely where I learned everything. That was my foundational learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it was a foundational learning experience. And I keep those concepts still today.
Right.
And I'm so thankful for that experience.
So it was as Jim Rohn likes to say, it was almost like an internship in where you were going to get to eventually.
Right. The company had challenges that were very severe. It caused a lot of people to go different directions, and I was one of those that went a different direction. Mm-hmm. But I still have a lot of love for that first company because of what I learned. Of course. Yeah.
And so, so first company, you get some learning, you're acquiring some skills, you're understanding what does geometric progression really look like, how does it work, and then there were a few more companies.
A lot more companies. I would like to call this what I call the network marketing treadmill. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've ever been on it, but I was on it for, I hate to admit this, 20 years. Mm-hmm. At least 20 different companies over 20 years, and it was not of my choice. 95% of them fell apart.
Right.
I picked the wrong ones that were startups that just weren't going to last, and it was really kind of a treadmill.
Right, and at the same time, in fairness, you were acquiring skills, learning the business, learning how to talk to people. In other words, it was a failing your way forward type situation, because obviously it takes a certain maturity and skills to be a master networker like yourself.
You know, one person shared with me, you know, when I shared about all my failures, and I call them failures, but like you call them learning experiences, and that's what they were learning experiences. But he said all those learning experiences, Jay, have prepared you for the right opportunity. Mm-hmm. And all I could say was, I must be incredibly prepared.
So fast forward, and I know we had a chance to connect later in that 20-year period on a couple different companies and spent some time together, working together. What was the sort of, as you're approaching before joining your current company and being one of the great networkers in the world, what was the end of that 20-year look like? What did that look like?
Well, the end of the 20 years was like, you know, I was at the end of my road. I was at a wall in my life. Mm-hmm. It was very, very difficult to think I'm 20 years down the road and nothing had worked. Mm-hmm. And there was no residual income.
And how did you maintain in the face of that difficulty? Because a lot of people experience that. They have a belief in the industry, somehow the company's not right, or the compensation plan is not right, or one of the key elements is not right, and you still somehow had the faith to keep on trying because you believed so much in the concept. How did you maintain that faith?
I will say I was right at that point, you know, 20 years later, ready to throw in the towel. Mm-hmm. I think what saved me from doing that was the idea of, my gosh, this is all I've been doing in my career now for 20 years. I can't throw it all in the trash right now.
Right.
I've got to give it one more shot.
Right.
And I will say that I did the best I could to make the best decision. I gave it one more shot, and I knew I had to go 100%. Mm-hmm. If I didn't go 100%, and I was like gun shy and going at 90%, I knew it was never going to work anyway.
Right, because subconsciously you're already planting that seed in your mind that it's not going to work.
Right.
Based on all those challenges beforehand. So you somehow not only kept the faith, but decided, wait a second, if I'm in, I'm all in one more time because I believe.
And that was the best decision I ever made. And that's what has created the success, was that 100% commitment with the right company. Finally picked the right one, and the results now have shown up dramatically.
Now let's talk about that too, because it's such a great story, the way this happened and the way that you found Isagenix, your current company, where
Yes.
you're one of the top distributors in the world. So tell us the story of exactly how that happened, because it sure was an interesting twist of fate.
So the previous company, the last one that I was in prior to the Isagenix company, I was calling a lady who I can't remember now who this lady was. But I remember that it was in Northern California, and I was making my pitch, you know, on her, and she goes, honey, I'm not wanting to get involved. I'm not, you know, thank you for calling. And she was ready to hang up. But right before she hung up, I said, who do you know in network marketing? And I don't even know why I said that. I just didn't know what else to say. And she goes, oh, let me think about that. And she puts the phone down, and I thought she was never gonna come back. Seems like 5 minutes later, she picked up the phone and goes, well, I've got her phone number right here. Kathy Coover, who's the co-founder of the company, and here's her phone number. And I said, thank you. Boom, I called her immediately and when I called her, she picked up on the phone, and I immediately started talking to her about the company I was involved in, and she listened patiently. And right when I was done, when I had a breath, she goes, let me tell you what we're doing here. And she started talking about her experience, her husband Jim's experience, the founder of the company, John Anderson, his background in nutrition and health, and all the companies he had private labeled for, and you know, all their experience and what they were going to do. And I was like, wow, her pitch is better than mine.
It's just so classic.
Her pitch, I mean, I honestly said her pitch is better than mine. I'm in.
Right.
And I was a little bit perturbed in the beginning because she reversed on me.
Right.
But then I said, hey, I paid attention and I got involved. So that was a beautiful thing. So through a referral, I actually got myself put into Isagenix.
That was amazing. And that was, gosh, a long time ago at this point.
That was 16 years ago, this June. Or no, this March. 16 years ago. 16 years ago.
16 years ago. Yep. Over how many distributors at this point in your organization?
It's over 2 million distributors in the team.
2 million distributors in the team,
Yeah,
tremendous
amazing.
amount of success, all from having the faith and belief in the industry and also in yourself. I mean, in some levels, you had to believe that you were the guy who could make it happen here.
Well, my belief in myself and my confidence was shaken when but I gave it 100%, and my confidence has increased over the years. So don't think that you're a 10 out of 10 in terms of confidence anytime you get started. We're all a little bit shaky, all of us, including me. But then I started getting some wins and getting some success and getting more confidence, and it grew on it.
Last question on this story. It's a great
Yeah.
story. How did you come to be known, or why have you come to be known as the blue collar networker? What about that's important? Besides the shirt.
And Ridgely makes me wear blue shirts because I'm the blue collar networker. You know, I'm a trench guy. I'm in the trenches. I do the business. I'll give you an example. You know, when people call, I do my very best to actually pick up the phone. I have a landline. I have a cell line. Constantly texting, setting up the next appointments, and making phone calls with the people that I'm working with. And even if I'm on a phone with someone and I see someone's coming in, especially on my teams that I know are working, I'll hit flash or call waiting, and I'll say, "Hey, Mary, I'll be right on with you here. Just give me 10 minutes, and I'll call you back." She feels like, hey, she got someone, you know, live. She knows I care. She knows I'm there, but she knows also I'm going to get back to her, and then I get back to the other person. Also, that person knows I'm busy. I'm not trying to be rude, but I want you to know I've got Mary over here,
Right,
and I'm now back with you, Sue.
Right.
But here we go. We got, you know, mission control here. We got, you know, we're doing the business here.
And you give them that I'm a blue collar worker type guy who's going to make that phone call, who's going to be there for you. It's very different than a lot of top leaders.
You know, it's very, for me, when I make a phone call and it goes into voicemail, and I know that that's kind of the life of the 21st century here, is, you know, we're using technology, but I want to talk to a human being now. That's what I want. So why wouldn't, you know, the people on my team want that?
Right, sure.
And so I would just say, and yes, of course, that goes into voicemail or text, and we get back to people. But I want people to know I'm there quickly. It's not going to be this huge, long delay before you get a return call or a return text. I really live on the phones, and I'm working with my team.
And that's a work ethic. In other words, that blue collar networker is saying to people the message that, hey, I am here, I'm going to keep working, and if you'd like to be on my team, I'm going to work for you.
Absolutely. And it creates an energy, it creates people moving forward more quickly, and it creates a positive environment.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate your story.
Thank you, Rich. Appreciate it, buddy.